Yeah.
Great. While I sip my tea, there was a lot of drama that happened last time. And I'm still scared of Georgina that she's gonna yell at me through the screen. Who else wants to tell us what happened? I'm just kidding.
I do listen to the recording, but I just read my notes. And it seems that we started by fighting the fire monster. And I specifically have notes that say Aurora kind of gives up and starts trying to put out other fires with her water bottle.
Yes.
And
Classic.
Basil puts out a little of a fire with a lot of bubbles.
Yes. Because we Googled it and it's a thing.
But yeah, we ended up like fighting this monster. It didn't really like
We determined that it was
magical.
an illusion of some sort or not real. So Mrs. Q dispelled it.
Yep. And then everyone's eyes closed for like a second, and then Quill takes my
There it
necklace.
is.
He's holding it in front of you, right?
Yep. And then we all I try reasoning with him, and everyone tries attacking him, but he has like frost armor.
We had
So that
Mrs. Q
doesn't
back.
work.
Yeah, we had your back. You know,
Yeah,
so.
I know you guys did. I appreciate it. And then we went and had a drink. And then
As we like chatted about
and then I
history and
told
backstory.
everyone my backstory, and then I went to bed, I think.
Mhm.
Did I? Yes, and then we waked up.
Waked up.
Waked up. Late morning to Brenna, Bitter, and Riffin's voices down the hall.
Mhm.
Great. It may all sound the same today, just as a heads up. Yeah, so an illusion definitely got the best of you. An illusion and its caster got the best of you yesterday, with a seemingly hatched plan that you were unfortunately taken surprise by. Left Mrs. Q with a component bag instead of her stone. And as you found solace as the only inhabitants of the Sunny Silkworm here in Bracken Mill, you all get a long rest if you haven't already. And you do wake up. That happened in like the dead of night. So you were up around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning to deal with Quill's illusion. And in order to get your long rest, you're now closer to 9, 10 o'clock in the morning as you hear the voices from down the hall of Riffin, the speaker Bitta of the Council of Alderheart, and Brenna Ceridian and her General Ajax. What do? You can all be in the same room, you can all be in separate rooms, doesn't really matter as you wake up late morning here in Bracken Mill. You do see that the sun is actually out. It's a beautiful day from what you can tell inside your rooms. From the
Everybody sleep well?
That came through so loud on my computer. Anyway.
No, nobody slept well? Holy shit.
Elle is still waking up. She's kind of a little groggy from the night's adventures. She needs her full 8 hours.
You see Mrs. Q sort of already. Are we all in the same room? We decided we are, yeah, for the
I
sake
think
of
Aurora's gone.
Aurora, no.
in her own room with a fancy bed. You see Mrs. Q already bustling around the room, trying to pack up everything because she is kind of eager to get moving.
You hear a knock at the door.
We don't want any.
Mrs. Q flicks her hand and the door opens.
Ooh.
Very nice.
And you see Aurora walking in, dressed to the nines, all made up for the day, ready to go. With a tray. You don't even know how she got it all together this early in the morning. With a tray of breakfast for the room, and then little cups of espresso for everybody on the tray.
No.
You guys ready for breakfast? We probably want to get a good start on the day.
What did you say was on the tray?
Breakfast.
It's just breakfast. It's whatever they have, the international buffet. Like it's bagels and oatmeal and cereal. There's like Fruit Loops.
I've never had food this good this early. This is a treat.
Oh.
And I wish we had somebody to provide us food all the time. Somebody motherly.
Just ending your
Mrs.
sentence
Hughes.
there, huh?
Mrs. Hugh just sort of stares at you, and her eyes turn like black for a second, and then they turn back to normal, and she continues on with her bustling.
Ooh.
What was a joke?
Sir Basil just helps handing out. Just immediately just
The tension.
shoves it.
Here to-
Continental breakfast, not
I
international.
was wondering what
Yeah.
you're trying to say.
How about bagels and Fruit Loops?
Yeah.
International.
An international breakfast, uh-huh.
Pan-galactic breakfast.
Ooh.
Transplaner.
Yeah.
Oh.
As you are all sipping your espresso and eating your I forgot the word, continental breakfast. You do start to hear a pair of footprints just kind of slowly make their way down the hall.
Not knowing she's supposed to sip it, Elle just backs the espresso like she would the coffee from the canteen.
That's gonna be a problem.
You see in the doorway Brenna Ceridian kind of just looking a little shocked at seeing this 12-year-old knock back some espresso. He's gonna be your problem. This is gonna be great.
Do you want any?
I'm good. You guys all okay? You looked like you'd seen a ghost when you came back last night.
I wish.
That's a lot to unpack this early in the morning. Okay, I take it you're not okay. I'm just here to tell you that the speaker is ready for you guys whenever you want to head back to Alderheart. Take your time. You can make your way a little.
Are you unbuttoning or buttoning?
I was tying a scarf around my neck.
Oh.
It's like, oh, what's happening right now?
You guys are fun. I'm gonna miss this.
Where are you gonna go?
Ajax and I are gonna help out here for a second. Seems like someone's gone missing and the town kind of depended on him, so we'll make our way to Alderheart in a couple days.
You gonna run this joint?
Well, we're gonna make sure. I do not like this place. Between you and me, they're strange at best. So no, we're gonna help them figure themselves out. We're not just gonna leave a town in chaos. And then we'll head to Alderheart to continue our agreements and our talks with the council.
You truly are an honorable person.
Thank you. I've been trying to tell you that since we met you in the mountains.
While they're
She
talking,
sips her
Elle,
big ass mug of coffee. Sorry.
Elle's gonna kind of go to Mrs. Q after hearing them say, well, someone is missing and they're pretty important. She's gonna whisper, but again, as fast as possible because this espresso is hitting her. Mrs. Q, we know who has gone missing, but he did something really bad. He basically set the whole town on fire, but are we gonna say anything? Because you seem really mad at him, so what do you want us to do?
I imagine you think you're whispering, but you're just saying it out loud too, just like.
She's whispering, but it might be coming out incredibly fast and incoherently, but the basics is she's wondering, are we gonna say anything about it being cool that set the fires, that he's the one who took your thing and that he's pretty much a bad guy?
Mrs. Q, like shoulders her bag, and says, I think for now, let's not taint his name. We'll continue on our way and try and find out more before we pass judgment. Do you need help packing?
She just kind of spins around really quick in a circle, like, nope, I got everything. You can see her stuff in her holsters. And she'll just quickly say, like, okay, in my stories, he's going to be a bad guy, but for now, we won't say anything. And she's just going to kind of run around.
Excellent.
She's got, like, her tin of cookies or her tin of sewing supplies, just running around with it.
Everybody else, are we ready to go?
Think so. Slipping on a sword and
Okay, let's make sure to let Farron know that we're leaving before we go. He's been a very good host.
You're gonna see Apoc for the first time to put on the contingency bracelet that Cam left for him.
Mhm.
Just like stare down at it. Find you.
Right. As you all gather up your things and follow Brenna Ceridian down the short hall into the tavern part of the Sunny Silkworm, you do see Farron, who is once again behind the bar. There are no other patrons in at the time other than the white peahen speaker Bitta of the Council of Alderheart and the short, stout Strig, who you know as Riffin, in full plate armor as he was when you first met him, in a helmet with one Strig feather kind of coming up from the very top of it, looking kind of impatiently over his shoulder, seeing you, kind of giving a nod as you come out. You see Farron kind of look in your direction. This time his bow tie is a like bright yellow, as he's looking a little tired, a little haggard. He was also up at 3 o'clock last night when the commotion, the alarm bells went off. As he just kind of looks around, slowly blinks at each of you. One little inchworm hand kind of waves. It's very nice to meet you all.
Insight check.
Make an insight check.
We were the worst patrons ever.
15.
15. You get the sense that in the days you've been here, there has been a windstorm, there has been a fire, there has been a lot going on. So he is a little tired, a little on the weary side, but you get the sense he means what he says. Safe travels. If you come back to Brackenmill, come and say hello.
We pay. We did. Okay.
As far as I knew, it was covered by Quill.
how devious.
Saying that out loud.
No.
Insight check. Quill on you. No, I'm kidding.
Is there anybody else we want to say goodbye to while we're here?
You could make your decisions. That would be great. We do need to get back to Alderheart. As the speaker kind of approaches you, she is wearing this just very plain kind of like a browny purpley sort of wine kind of color, colored cloak, sorry, with a hood that she's pulled up around her head. You see these green symbol of Alderheart buttoned on the front of her cloak as she just kind of holds her hands in front, kind of, when you're ready, as quick as you can.
I think we're ready to go. The hint has been received. my dear. Where Miss Q turns to Farron and say, "Thank you so much for your hospitality. You have been true and honest and good, and we appreciate that more than you know."
I appreciate that. Next time you come, maybe I'll have new teas for you.
Oh, perhaps next time I come, I will try and bring some new exotic ones for you to try as well.
Perfect. Perfect. Travel safe.
Can we see who it is that's supposed to take us to Alderheart?
So as you look around, you don't see anybody other than the people. You see the speaker, you see Riffin, you see Ajax, and you see Brenna Ceridian. As you're kind of looking around, though, Elle, you do see the speaker reach into one of the pouches on the inside of her cloak and pull out this like fist-sized sapphire gem. So I can get us to Alderheart. You wanted to go to the Avium. We have about 2 days before the tenders show up at Alderheart to start discussing what to do about the Grove and what's changed. So I can get you to Alderheart. I can get us to Alderheart. There is transportation ready for you to get to the Avium. It might be a long day for you.
We're used to long days, aren't we?
I won't use my spells early.
All right, strange thing to say, but sure. As the speaker is kind of holding this gem, she sort of looks at all of you, and then her gaze meets over towards Brenna Ceridian and Ajax as she kind of looks and just... You see her kind of swallow very pronounced as she kind of bobs her head. We will see you in Alderheart in a few days, I take it, as you travel, and we made so much progress. Please travel safe. She kind of tugs on her hood. As Brenna, you can see, smirks, crosses her arms, and leans up against the tavern wall. Yeah, we'll be there. We'll be there. And as the speaker starts to kind of huddle around you, you can see a little bit of a smile playing on her face as well. Okay, all right. Riffin, when you're ready, we need you as well. And I'm going to say probably Basil, you're probably at the closer to where Ceridian and Ajax are kind of tucked into a corner. You can all kind of see and hear as Riffin sort of is just waddling over to Brenna and Ajax. He's up to their like mid-thigh. He's a short little dude, Riffin.
Okay.
But as he kind of looks up, he just sort of... We're staying for a couple days, and you see an old Corvum that goes by the name of Oswald Ebbenhart. Please just tell him I'm looking for him. That'd be great. We're from the area.
Who's saying this, sorry?
Riffin is saying this to Brenna and Ajax. As you see them kind of nod and like, yeah, sure, yeah, we'll keep an eye out.
Side quest we didn't get to do.
Oh, it's Riffin has a backstory too.
Beautiful.
All right. And Riffin kind of just like jingle, jangle, jingle, jangle, jingle, jangle, scoots over towards the rest of you as he kind of stands tall, takes up a post next to the speaker. All right, I'm going to break the stone. Just make sure you enter the mist within 6 seconds, and it's going to take us back to Alderheart. All right? Okay, I see one nod. That's good. Great. I forgot how maybe interpretive dance is your way of communication. It's hard to tell. All right. You see her put the stone on the ground in front of her and kind of rub her hands together as she just steps on the stone and smashes it. And you see this sapphire fog start to pour out from under her foot. And as it touches the speaker, you see her vanish.
Ooh.
As it touches Riffin, you see him vanish.
Let's go.
Quick.
Mrs. Q walks forward. She doesn't want to get left behind.
Oh no!
dive
Aurora
in.
just diving in head first.
Oh no, my scarf.
Yeah. You hear Brenna at the last minute, "Don't be stupid," as you all jump into the smoke, and it feels for a second like you have just smacked, like belly flopped onto water from a height that's just a little too much. You almost feel kind of smacked. There's like a tingle in your nose. It almost makes you hold your breath for a second as you disappear and reappear, your feet landing solid on the ground. You're in a very brightly lit room. It's very ornate. You can see on the ground in front of you swirls that have been almost, it doesn't look carved into the wooden floor that you're on. It looks shaped. And you see as you kind of take in and take a breath and your eyes adjust to the brightness of this room, you can hear the soft kind of sound of the leaves waving in the wind as you recognize that you are back in Alderheart, the Tree City. And not are you back, you are at the very top in the council chamber that you were before. You see Riffin and the speaker kind of catching their breath as well, as Riffin is never going to get used to that. That is the worst way to travel ever, as he's just kind of muttering under his breath before straightening himself up.
Everyone all right?
I was just about to ask the same. It's usually a bit dizzying if you're not used to teleportation magic. You look fine.
It's great. Let's do it again.
Maybe, well, if you're going to the Avium right away, you will have to do this again.
Say, can we get a couple of those crystals just if we need to get back here?
Crystals are emergency transport only.
Yeah, I mean, if we're working on official Alderheart business.
And we have plenty of emergencies.
Persuasion check.
Yes.
This is an important business meeting.
Do you have a good persuasion, Elle?
One of you make a check.
No.
We do have a lot of emergencies.
Do you want to rock, paper, scissors over who does?
Oh my god.
About who rolls? Okay.
No.
You do shoot?
No.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't do anything.
I think that's you. That's how it works, right? Folder parchment sheet. That's about as good as we can expect.
Yeah.
It's a 12.
A 12.
That's not bad.
The speaker, like.
Pretty please?
I will think about it. In a pinch, perhaps if you do go to the Grove of the Tenders, it might make easier transport back. I'll see what I can do, but for the Avium, Bertolt can send you there, and one of the professors can send you back. Thankfully.
Yeah, alright.
So I will go and I'll go and find Bertolt. He should be just in his office. You're welcome to wait here. You will have about a day at the Avium. So we'll likely bring you back this evening. Will that be enough time?
Hopefully it will be.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Just wait for a moment. As she kind of steps aside and you see her sort of pulling her hands together and just muttering under her breath. A moment later, you do hear footsteps kind of coming down from the stairs.
Wait, what did she just do?
You can make an Arcana check.
I'm not good at that.
Are you a good kind of check? You are.
No, it's a
I do
9.
have a good Arcana check, but I don't think Mrs. Q is particularly like.
I mean, yeah, you do get the sense based on the fact that the speaker was the one who gave Mrs. Q a scroll of sending, that the speaker was sending a message.
Okay.
And, a moment goes by before you do hear footsteps coming down the stairs, and you do see the kind of blustery form of Bertolt, one of the other council members who sat at the right-hand side of the speaker. Believe Bertolt's. Do your notes have what Bertolt looks like?
To the right of the speaker, there was a male raptor.
Okay, he was the raptor.
Yeah.
So the
Gold.
hooked beak golden eagle form of Bertolt comes bustling down. He's very kind of hoofy, feathers kind of awry at this point, same as when you first met him, as he bustles in. Good to meet you all. Good to meet you all. Well, meet you again, I should say. You look a bit different than last time, but that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. The speaker tells me you're headed to the Avium.
That's correct.
Okay. So the dean is an old friend of mine. I'll be able to send you to one of the circles in the towers. He should meet you there. Bertolt kind of looks at the speaker, who kind of gives just a nod. Yes, he's there. He'll expect them. So the dean knows why you're going and who you are. You should have access to what you need. It's a big place. Try and enjoy. It's a sight to behold. Okay, all right. Are you ready to go? Are you ready to go? I need. Kind of pats himself down, checks his pocket. Pulls out this the tiniest little bit of chalk that you could possibly draw with, and starts tracing a circle on the ground. As the speaker kind of just puts a hand to her face, rubs her eyes for a moment. He's a little eccentric, but he'll get you to where you need to go. The dean will bring you back tonight. I hope you find what you need. Please don't cause trouble. And
We won't.
I'd like to believe you, dear.
When have I caused trouble?
At this, you actually hear Riffin.
If anything, we've only shown up to stop trouble where it's happening, so. But, anyways, we'll be good.
You're a Winters, right? Yeah. Well, maybe you're one of the good ones.
What does Eurowinters mean?
I think she meant it as an insult, but I take it as a compliment.
You hear in the background after a few minutes after this conversation. Okay, are you ready? As soon as the sigil glows, run through.
6 seconds?
6 seconds.
Why is it always 6?
You're so learned.
Why is it 6 seconds?
Because that's what the spell is.
You can't make it last longer?
Do you need longer to get through? If you need
Mrs.
longer
Q
to
might.
get through, well, maybe you can stand right in the middle, dear, and then it won't take so long. So you can stand right in the middle, and then I'll just finish off the chalk mark. She's not moving. I'm just gonna finish off the chalk mark, and then you just go through in 6 seconds.
Perfect. We can all do that perfectly fine.
Okay, great.
But you're like 500.
That is not a very nice thing to say to a lady.
You
Do
see
we
as
have to-
Berkel. Go ahead.
Do we have to count it down in Mississippi's? Though I don't think canonically Mississippi
And
exists.
go!
One Mrs. Quillam.
Mississippi? Two Mrs. Quillam?
Go, 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 go!
Check out
3, 4, 5, 6.
runs through.
I was counting in my head.
Hope you have more jobs.
We're in.
As you see the council chambers disappear, you get that feeling of hitting water, stomach first, and you catch your breath, feet landing on the floor once more. You are in an unfamiliar room. The room itself is beautiful. It's ornate. Unlike Alderheart, where you were just in, you are on a tiled floor. This sigil under your feet, kind of glowing with this like white runic glow. The walls around you are stone, and it's very shocking from what you're normally used to here in Humblewood, with everything being of wood or natural make carved out of the trees that they're built into. But what you are in right now is a stone building. You look above you, and there is a clear glass dome where you can see the outside sky. Sorry, my throat got really dry. Okay, we're good. And as you start to get your bearings, you see sconces with some low flickering torch lights on the walls. Each of the lights in these torches glows a different color fire, and it's just enough to sort of give the room this almost rainbow, borderline rave kind of vibe if it wasn't so calm.
Guys, we all doing that at the exact same time.
You do see bookshelves that line the walls, some books that have been placed on the floor once the bookshelves have gotten full. It's very much a like a den almost. You're expecting to see an armchair by a fire, even though that's not what you see here. What you do see, as you kind of take a look around, you do see it looks almost like a hallway or a tunnel that kind of just opens up to the outside. And waiting at the front of this tunnel, you see a Luma. So very much Elle adjacent. You haven't met too many Lumas. This Luma has kind of like deep purple indigo with bright blue chest patch feathers. You also see on this Luma that some of the feathers have almost curled up around their necks to form kind of like a hood of sorts, a scarf of sorts that just sort of sway almost on their own. They are wearing a robe, a hooded robe that is this bright lime green with golden threading. And they just kind of regard you with these very big, round, orange eyes that just sort of look. Hello,
Hello.
you're an ascending group from Alderheart.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome.
Are you the dean?
I am the dean. Winsworth's the name. So good to meet you. I'll send you a picture of who you meet.
Dean Winsworth.
He's a fun-looking dude.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
Isn't he
Nice.
cute?
He's so poopy.
He's very flippy.
He's very floofy. You see, like, it almost looks like the cloak is a little too tight buttoned around his neck, as he's just very, like,
Yeah.
pretty much. And you can see as he walks, all of his feathers just sort of, almost like flounce, curls in a hair kind of flounce.
Wow. I love that.
So I've been told that you're here on a time limit, which is not a problem. We've made arrangements to ensure that you have access to all that is here in the library, and we'll make sure that you have some of our librarians help you search for what you're looking for. Come. He kind of checks down at his wrist. We'll be meeting one of the bridges soon, and we'll want to try and get off there, otherwise we're stuck here for another 10 minutes. So come with me. And as he sort of waddles away, his tail kind of has that same sort of whoop as he just kind of waddles away. You see everything just sort of bouncing. As you exit this tunnel, there is a platform that is fully outside the building, the tower you just came into. And as you exit this tunnel, you immediately are struck, particularly the humble folk around you who are not able to fly or even glide. You are struck by the fact that you are very, very high off of the ground here. You're a good 100 feet high up off of the ground. And you are face to face with what looks like, it's not as big as the tree of Alderheart. It's about 2/3 of the size. But instead of Alderheart being a beautiful living trunk of a tree, what you see in front of you is a gray, almost the color of bone tree that has sprawled out. You do see that some leaves are still growing on its outermost branches, but for the most part, it looks the color of bone. And what you see as you stand on this pedestal, and what you notice is that you are floating. And not only are you floating, but you are orbiting this tree on this little island in the middle of the air.
Wow.
You can see that you're not the only island. There are many others that look like yours with stone buildings that are just kind of floating above you, below you, or to the sides as far as you can see. And as you orbit just a little bit farther, you do see what looks very much like a bridge coming up where your island will connect with the main trunk of this tree proper. As you're floating around it, you do see kind of like what you notice in Alderheart, carvings, what looks like windows almost in the trunk of this bone white tree. You can see people milling about inside, walking up a staircase through one window. And as you kind of start to take in every little bit of the tree, one of the things you notice coming up on one side is this massive domed, best word that I can use to describe it is terrarium, where you can see students, to the best of your understanding, in robes of light green, much lighter than the dean's robes, kind of milling back and forth on connected bridges to these terrariums. You look up and you see one floating above you, the terrarium itself, this massive island that just blots out the sun as it floats over yours. Or as you float under it, as the terrariums don't actually seem to be orbiting, just your little tower is orbiting the tree itself. It's beautiful and creepy all at the same time. And I will send you a picture of that too, because it's too cool not to share in the book.
I just don't like this guy. Ooh. This is very cool.
Okay.
So the numbered domed terrariums are what seem to be stationary throughout the tree itself, external to the tree, sorry, all connected by solid gangplanks is what it looks like. The little towers that are much smaller in comparison to the terrariums, housing only a single, what you would gather now that you know what you're looking at, would be a classroom of sorts, just start to float, all floating around and orbiting the Avium tree itself. And as you have a second to kind of take this in, you feel a slight bump as your island, your little floating, orbiting island, makes contact with one of the platform bridges to the tree proper. And the dean kind of, okay, off we go, and just starts to, if you had to put a word to it, it would be skip his way off of the off of the platform, as all of his feathers kind of bounce as he moves. Come, come, if you don't get off now, you'll be stuck.
I skip the exact same way he does.
Elle immediately gets like right alongside him, aside this guy, and is like mimicking everything.
I want performance checks from both of you.
Performance?
I need a sip of tea.
21.
Oh, dang.
Natural 19 plus 3, whatever that is. 20,
Oh my god.
You guys.
The finesse, you know?
Arm and arm and arm. It's like a beautiful dance as all three of you skip off of this island onto the bone tree proper.
Off to see the wizard.
Apparently.
Mm-hmm.
As you're on, as you step off onto something a little more solid, you can immediately notice the difference between the floating island that you were on and the fact that this is now attached to a, to this solid tree. The dean starts to kind of skip and lead you in. It's lovely, isn't it? It's been here as long as the tree of Alderheart, if I'm not mistaken. The only difference is that the Avium is actually a petrified version of that same kind of tree from the founding of the forest itself. And kind of along the same lines as the tree of Alderheart, the tree itself gifted to humble folk and to bird kind. We were able to use it as a school, and we've decided to make sure that we can use it properly. And as he just starts to chatter your ears off, walking you down the halls of this bone tree. As you go, you do pass other groups of students. Some of them are running packs all akimbo as they are desperately in a rush for something. You do hear a bell go off that seems to almost vibrate through the tree itself. You swear you see almost like a sparkle as the bell kind of goes off through the trunk of the tree. You see some students kind of walking, rubbing their heads, some of them nose deep in a book, all of them wearing robes that are just shades of green, some shades of yellow, depending on who they are, it seems.
How many different colors do we see? Like 4? Is it lots? Is it few?
It is. You see 8 different shades of robes.
They have like emblems or anything?
Make a perception check.
Curious.
We'll see as you're walking how much you get.
6 and a modifier. 10.
10? You do notice that most of them, the ones that you can catch glimpses of as you're walking down, where their robes kind of attach at the collar, you do see an emblem. Yeah, I think you would probably recognize them. If not you, after you pointed out one of your group, likely Elle actually, I think. Maybe Aurora would be able to tell you that the emblems are the sigils for different schools of magic.
Would we be able to tell like the age range or just like how old most of these students are?
So you see quite a spread. You definitely notice, well, you know, as a folk of Humblewood, different races age and mature at different rates. So you can definitely see some hedges that look a little bit older. You can see some lumas that look a little bit on the younger side, almost your age, from what you can tell, Elle.
Hell yeah.
You kind of see all sorts. You do see students that are starting to gray around the snout. You do see students that are very wide-eyed and just feathers popped out, all ready to learn. The hope hasn't gone yet.
Wow.
It looks like we all went to, post-secondary.
Only
We
2 of
know.
us went to Carleton.
Oh, it was that bad.
This episode sponsored by
yeah.
Carleton Zoom.
No. It does seem to be quite a spread here. It seems like if you can prove your mettle, you're welcome. And you do also notice that every race of Humblewood is represented here. And you can see that even though they're in a tree, it hasn't stopped a lot of the humble folk who aren't able to glide from actually seeking education here at the As the dean starts to walk you down the central pillar, the central tower of the tree itself, the avium tree itself. He walks you towards kind of the middle ring. You got off in the top third, and you get the sense that you've walked towards the middle of the avium itself. So between 4 and 5, if you're looking at the sorry. Between 4 and 5, if you're looking at the map itself. And you see as you enter the area, kind of like in Alderheart, how there was the trunk market that took up a whole ring of the tree itself. You descend a staircase that wraps around the outside, like the outer ring of the tree, and descends and opens up into this cavernous room that is packed from floor to ceiling with books. You can see that the shelves all around the outside have been built right into the tree itself. And that as they have started going up and up the tree, the domed ceiling of this, it seems like there's some form of magic that is holding the book so that it's almost, they're angled on the top of the roof, and the dome itself is completely covered in books as well. Steph's in heaven.
I was gonna say
This is like my dream.
Yeah.
You can see there's a large area in the middle of the ring itself where there seems to be tables set up. Some students are taking up tables, others are kind of in between the shelves, just sort of slouched with a book on their lap. You can see some students just starting to chatter and walking. And you can see as some students start to reach for a book on the higher shelf, the book itself almost seems to remove itself from the shelf and just float down to their hands. As the dean just kind of prances down the stairs, turns to look. So this is our main library. You'll find a lot of your information here. We also have a lower library. If what you seek is not in the main library, we can certainly check the lower library as well, although it's a little more restricted. But both are available to you to find the information you seek, because I know we're on a time crunch. So, how can we help you today? I'll get a couple of my librarians here, but think of what you are looking for, and we'll make sure that we can find it for you. At this point, before we start looking for knowledge, unless anyone wanted to say something, I just need a re-steep of my tea. So if we could take a quick 5-minute break, that'd be great. But the library, both the lower and the upper libraries, are free for your knowledge use. Sorry, everyone, but you are currently in a library. I don't think there's any sword fighting that's going to go on right now.
That's what you think.
I mean, who
That's what
knows?
people-
Don't you dare destroy these books.
You have a lot of people invested.
Well, Steph will be
Alrighty.
personally mad, but I don't think Elle would care.
Any
That's
fire
very
shield people? No.
Are you okay with pissing off your cousin?
I'm pissing off my cousin.
Yeah. If you destroy the books.
You destroy those
It wouldn't be
books.
the first time a library burnt down in a D&D adventure.
Very good point.
Oh.
I think you mean Book Resource Center. Oh, Courtney.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so jumping back into it. So as the dean kind of gathers a few of the junior librarians who are just some students, you see they're from various schools of magic, various colored robes that just kind of come over and kind of look at you all. All right, so the students are going to help you find what you need. If you do need to go to the lower library, I can alert Professor Mordain. He's the librarian down there. He's a little on the quiet, shy side, a little bit odd, but he's very good at what he does. So yes, just let the students know, and they will escort you where you need to go. All right? And if you need anything else, they'll come and get me. So enjoy the library. Please don't burn it down. Ta-ta! As he just kind of starts to float away almost. And you see the students kind of just like, so what are you looking for?
Yeah, what are we looking for?
Andrea,
Yeah.
you have to remind me what Quill told me to look for because I didn't write it.
Yeah.
down. Sorry.
Yeah,
Elle-
so
No, go ahead. go ahead.
let me just remind Georgina
Yeah.
quick, and then we'll get to you. That way the thoughts can stew a bit. So Quill knew that you were attempting to take care of the Scorched Grove, and he told you that you were looking for an artifact and that you wanted to look for information in the lower library to try and find that artifact. I think the best way, unless you're going to search together, we can kind of just go around who wants to search for what. Elle, I know you wanted to talk to the dean, so he can still kind of be there. And we can, well, who knows what they're looking for first? I know that Elle knows what she wants to ask.
Yeah. She also has some suggestions, so anyone who she could boss around, she'll ask them to do something too.
Okay.
Hmm.
We'll start with you then, Elle, just for simplicity's sake. So
Okay.
what would you like to do?
Okay, Apoc, I have to go talk to the dean again. She hasn't hit the caffeine low yet. That's gonna come later.
Go talk to the dean, Apoc. We gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta go talk to the dean. But can you look up stuff about the like elemental planes and about cracks or doors? Because we both have dreams that have had to do with cracks or doors. So we should maybe start there. Or tidal
Yeah.
waves.
Which planes?
The elemental ones?
There's so many, aren't there?
All right.
I don't know. We're in
Okay.
a library. We can figure that out.
Okay. Hey, what are you talking to the dean about?
Well, Mr. Spice Rack said I should ask him about whether he knows Master Wayra or my mom.
Okay, you don't want us to look up Master Wayra here?
I don't know if she'd be in any of the books. I actually don't even know if she went here, and she's gonna pull out her big book, which you guys have seen her go through, but in it, she goes right to the back and there's like a false back on it, and she pulls out this other book, like a little slim volume, that there's some writing at the top. It's actually really chicken scratchy and really hard to read. But the most, I was just gonna say, Master Wayra would write in this all the time, and if you look on the back, she looks in the back and there's like something in the bottom, like imprinted, that just like says the Avium or something of the sort. There's a sign on it. After she didn't come back, this was one of the only things she left, so I figured it was important, and maybe someone knows where she went. So I probably wasn't supposed to take it, I tried reading it, but it didn't make any sense, and there's no good stories or pictures, so I just put it in here.
Okay, yeah, I'll try and find plane cracks and doors.
What a search. Could you turn their volume up just a smidge for me, Sean?
Yeah.
Thank you.
That should be better.
Okay.
You want me to go first?
Sure. Yeah, you can go first. So
Looking for, I guess, information on whether or not there's been like elemental planes crossing over into our world. How they cross over and like the connections.
Mhm.
That's what I'd be looking for.
So go ahead and make an investigation check. And this is really just to see how long it's going to take you to do this.
14.
Pardon?
14.
14. Okay. So with a 14, and with the help of one of the student librarians who's like, yeah, okay, okay, so you're looking for planes, planar travel, that kind of magic. Let me see what I can find. And this young female raptor, very snowy owl-esque, brings over a couple books and just kind of puts them down and starts to sort of flip through them, turning them to the right chapters before letting you read through. What you are able to glean with the 14, it takes about like the majority of the day, maybe like 2/3 of the day. So by the time you're kind of finished looking at all of this, you do still have some time left at the end of the day, essentially. So it doesn't take up your whole day for this. As you read through, you do find information and kind of what you knew a bit before. There are other planes beyond the material plane. You do have your elemental planes of fire, water, air, and earth. You do know that there are other planes, the astral sea, for example, a world that's described as an ocean of gossamer purple clouds that just kind of drift, the ethereal plane, and a lot of planes in between that seem to just go on forever as you start to read through the lists in the books. What you can find with a 14 is that there are times when planes do, for lack of a better word, kind of crash into each other and can affect the happenings in each other's area without overtaking one another. You do know that there are ways to travel from plane to plane. You do find a plane shift spell that can move you from one plane to another. And you also do find information about tears that seems to really be kind of on a cyclical pattern in one of the journals that you're reading. You see that the author has been able to sort of track when rifts in certain areas appear, and although it's not always in the same place, it's in the general vicinity enough to be trackable. And these plane rifts do appear on a, depending on the place, 20-year cycle, 30-year cycle. They don't go into too much detail, as this particular author seemed more frightened of going into different planes than actually just studying the crossover of the planes itself. But there are events where these rifts seem to be more common, more frequent, easier to spot.
Are there any reoccurring rifts in the fire plane I read about?
You do see in this journal questions, kind of musings from the author itself about the Scorched Grove being started by a rift to the fire plane that opened and never closed. You do not see that there is any evidence to it, as by the time this particular journal was written and a lot of the books you're currently reading was written, the Scorched Grove had been burning for 500 years, 1,000 years already. The Scorched Grove has been around for forever.
But smarter.
But that's what you get.
I feel like my int score went up by a point.
No.
Damn. But I read books for 12 hours.
Oh, one of the other things that you are able to find from that same journal, and it kind of matches with what you, even though you knew it was illusion, it kind of matches with what you know as a ranger. There are creatures native to other planes that could jump through at certain periods of time, like a pretend fire elemental that Quill had summoned.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay, who next?
So guys, have any of you been to a library before?
Have we?
I feel like Mrs. Q would have. I don't think we have in the camp. Okay.
Well, I always find that the best books are always kind of tucked out of view, whether it's somebody put them there so they don't get spotted, or just kind of forgotten and they have like hidden gems. But maybe just take, and like you see me like clutching my own book that I brought in. Maybe you guys can all like just look a little extra harder, and maybe Maitland and my friends can help you find what you're looking for. And you just feel like a sense of energy swell around you as you feel a little bit more keen on finding stuff, as you are all going to receive a couple of spells.
Whoa.
You could have done that 5 minutes ago.
I realized it as you were doing it. I was like, fuck. So who's going next, and you'll get guidance from me, as well as an inspiration.
Oh my gosh.
So you can
Who
add
wants to go next?
I can go next.
so you can add D4 and a D8 to your roll.
Woo!
Wow.
That is so extremely overpowered. I don't like it.
Yeah.
There's a book that tells us exactly where Quill is.
Yeah, exactly where he's going.
He wrote his own book about
This
it.
is what I'm good for. I'm terrible in a fight.
Alrighty, Mrs. Q, so you are going next.
Yes,
What
indeed.
would you like to look for?
I am looking for information in the lower library, specifically on an artifact that could be used to fight the Scorched Grove.
Okay. So as you say this to the student you get is a Corvum, who seems to have done some sort of illusion or glamour magic to make her eyes seem even darker lined. She's dressed in like very, very deep green robes, and she's just kind of like looking at you through like these heavily lidded eyes. And she's like, "Lower library, follow me."
She a
And
postdoc?
just start. Pardon?
She a postdoc?
Yes. She looks a little bit older. And just starts to like walk down, and she'll bring you out of the main library and down to what feels like the entire staircase to the very, very bottom of the tree into the roots. As you enter the lower library, it's a little chilly here. It seems to be humidity controlled, which is good by magical means in order to protect the books, but you come face to face with this guy. Professor Mordain, a very old great gray owl whose little nose tufts looks like he has a little bit of a mustache. Very, very little spectacles that are just balanced. And he's just, hello. What are you looking for? Yes, the dean told me about you.
I'm looking for some information on an artifact about that may help with, may have something to do with the Scorched Grove, and it was suggested to me by someone that the lower library would be the place to look.
Okay, we'll see what we can find.
Mrs. Q isn't laughing. Georgina.
I love him so much.
All right, go ahead and make an investigation check for me with the assistance of your student who is attempting to help you here.
And also all of the extra rolls. Okay.
And all of the extra rolls, yes.
So a D4, a D8, a D20, or a D20. But did you say I have advantage? Because I was getting help from the student, the grumpy
No.
poster. Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine.
Can you feel whole?
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And this, what check is this? You said investigation. Okay.
Investigation for me, please.
Good rolls, bro.
That is a 27.
Yeah, okay. Okay, as you are looking through, both Professor Mordain are able to pull. You can see him kind of almost nervously shuffling about the shelves as he's just kind of looking, scratching his little chin. You can see the student just sort of like wandering almost aimlessly, hand across. You're able to pull the majority of your books with a few from the professor and the student. And you pull some information on the Scorched Grove itself. You pull some information on basically everything you can about that whole area of the wood. And there is a lot about the Scorched Grove. You get the sense that this is very much a well-studied subject. And a lot of the initial older findings of the Scorched Grove seem to be stored here in the lower library itself. One of the tomes that you pull from about the Scorched Grove, one of the pages that you kind of come to catches your attention as it gives a reason why the Scorched Grove might be there in the first place, some actual magical reason. You get the information about the rift. But one of the things that it does also suggest is that although the Scorched Grove is very much an elemental thing, with elemental creatures being found there, it also displays significant properties of conjuration magic, something that conjurers have been kind of baffled by for a while, considering the elemental nature of the grove itself. Which led one paper to hypothesize, essentially, that the Scorched Grove was conjured into this plane instead of by accident. As you read more and more into the types of flora and fauna of the grove itself and get into some of the kind of initial ideas around elemental planes, well, the fire plane particularly, and conjuration magic, you do come. Checks notes. Yeah, you do read up on conjuration magic as you kind of go down this thread. With a 27, you can read anything you want. And you get the sense that conjuration magic is not something accidental. It's something very deliberate, as conjuration circles are usually things that are required in order to make something appear or disappear. And it's kind of reminiscent to you of how you even got to the Avium in the first place through that teleportation magic. And the very last thing, as you're reading through the tome on the Scorched Grove itself, is you get kind of intrigued by the creatures that have been spotted in the grove. You see reports of creatures made of molten rock. You see reports of creatures that are made of just straight fire. And thinking back to the ember bats that you had encountered, the little bats on the roads that seem to have been made of flame, this kind of piques your interest. And one thing that you do notice that really kind of pulls its attention to you is the idea of there being not just elemental creatures, but elder elementals that are able to shift and change the landscape around it in order to make a home where it might not be initially welcome. And as you kind of go down and go down and go down, you can see that you're reading one of the passages about elder elementals, how opposing forces and opposing elements might be the key to slowing down these elementals and trapping them almost to give you an edge to escape. As you flip one page, the next page you're looking for has been torn out.
Oh.
So it was in the middle of saying that opposing forces could be used to like balance out the conjuration.
Balance out the elder elemental itself.
So you to conjure a water plane right on top of the conjured fire plane.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we had that giant tidal wave. Like we can just reconjure a tidal wave. Mrs. Q seeing the missing page? Did Quill have a page? Is this like am I remembering something? Is there something that I'm missing?
You don't remember Quill having a torn page up his sleeve or anything like that.
Okay.
One thing that you do notice, because you had a 27 investigation check, the tome that you're reading, it seems like it's been added to over the years. Like the pages are old, getting a bit newer as this knowledge has kind of grown. The reason why it's here in the more restricted section is that it's very detailed as to what's in the Scorched Grove, or at least the history of the Scorched Grove. The pages that have gotten newer and newer and newer, that seems to be what's been ripped out. This newer page about how to combat creatures that have been found in the Scorched Grove or combat these elder elementals. And the pages that have been ripped out, you can tell from the fibers of the pages themselves and the rip itself that it's not like it's been ripped out long ago where this tear has curled back in on itself. These pages have been ripped out recently.
Is Professor Mordain still around?
You can see him shuffling. He doesn't, he hasn't gone far. This is not a very big place. It's nothing compared to the grandeur of the main library, so he's certainly around.
Mrs. Q calls him over and says, a page has been ripped out of this book, and I think it contains the information that I am looking for. Who was the last person to use this book?
He kind of like adjusts his glasses and you see his eyes go wide. He kind of nervously looks at you. Ooh, this is...
No, keep it. I love it.
This is not good. No one checks these books out of the lower library. They just see them here.
Do you happen to recall anyone suspicious who has come in recently? This page looks like it was removed quite recently.
You can see him kind of, oh, I may have to check, but I don't remember. They sometimes just come with a note. Steph. And then they can look at the books they wish. Ripped out pages. I will have to alert the dean.
Do you have a file of all notes that are submitted for permission?
Yes, I somewhere here, yes.
Perhaps we can take a look.
I will, yes, let me talk to the dean, please. I will talk to the dean. He seems a little scattered, a little nervous as he's just trying to process what you've told him.
Mrs. Q, Mrs. Q does not have any useful spells.
Hmm.
For this, I don't think.
Mending.
What are there like finding spells? This is out of game. Are there like finding
Locate object?
Locate
Yeah.
objects, yeah.
Do you have to have seen the object to be able to find it?
It normally says in the spell.
I think if you describe it in great familiarity or something like that, you have.
But you might like
Actually,
find like
like,
any page that's been ripped out of any book. Doesn't like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I had a feeling.
I think it like pings the nearest one.
Yeah, a specific object known to you as long as you have seen it up close at least once. Alternatively, the spell can locate the nearest object of a particular kind, such as a certain kind of apparel, jewelry, furniture, tool, or weapon.
Okay. All right. No probs.
Mm.
Has like Professor Mordain just like pieced and left me standing there?
I mean, if you're still in the process of talking to him, he's just kind of muttering nervously, like,
She Mrs. Q says, by all means, definitely check. This is would be quite a violation for someone to do any damage to a book of this level of importance. Are you always on duty?
yes. And when I'm not, the library is locked.
Do you happen to remember another old hedge coming in? It would have looked particularly old. Male.
Recently?
Recently enough to have ripped a page out of this book without it being noticed.
Not to my memory, no. We have students who are hedge here, but they're not old.
Okay.
That was. I will tell the dean. As he kind of just like shuffles away. He's very hunched as he kind of goes away, muttering under his breath. All right. Who is next?
got a couple things I'd like to look up.
Go for it.
In amongst this, maybe I'm gonna go look over. I'm assuming it's probably in the darker or the lower levels. Professor Mordain?
Oh, I didn't see you there.
That's okay. If I'm looking
Don't
for
they have like 180-degree like ability to see?
You get the sense that this guy's a little on the old and the anxious side.
Oh, okay.
So if I was looking for a particular book, is there some way you could help me out?
I know most of the books in this library.
I'm looking for any books you have on, and I'm like quietly to not let like the others hear. And reanimating the dead.
Ooh, as he kind of backs up, you would imagine that normally a bird would get kind of poofy at the shock of this, but he just kind of backs up a little. I'm afraid I can't help you. Necromancy is not permitted on campus as an area of active study. It is for theory only and in very controlled settings off campus. We have no books like that here.
But if like a student was just interested in getting a good grade and like I tap on Professor's like collar, what would I, have to do to get access to that kind of thing?
Wow.
Didn't we see people wearing robes with the necromancy symbol on it?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, you did see people.
She hitting on this old owl?
Yes. He kind of,
All right.
as you go to reach out to tap on the cravat of his robes, he backs away so that you don't make contact with him. And as he just kind of okay, as he kind of looks, Professor Nightseed is the professor of necromancy here. All necromantic practices are in a tower off campus. Any books related to necromancy are strictly controlled by Professor Nightseed for her classrooms.
Perfect. So if I was looking for, say, anything about like tapping into wild magic, would that be something I could find here?
That's a little more doable. I think, let me ask the other student for help. As he starts to kind of go around, make an investigation check with whatever D4 and D8 you wish.
22.
22. Jeez
Yeah,
Louise.
I don't get it. I can't use them for myself.
Aw.
Oh, wow, okay.
You can't guide yourself?
You can guide yourself.
Well, I guess I could, but I didn't.
As you are going about triggering wild magic, the professor is able to pull a few books for you. There's not a lot on it in this, at least in the lower library. This is far more the restricted area where things that could cause dangerous side effects to the wood are kept. You can even hear him muttering, just like, maybe in the upper library, there might be some, don't know about here. But as he's kind of going around, you get one tome that is quite detailed on wild magic, as it was kind of studied by, you see all of the articles by the very same author as you kind of go through. You do get the sense that there are, wild magic is wild for a reason. And it's very much, at least to this author's idea or hypothesis, something that is untraceable in family lines. It just kind of shows up and disappears with individuals throughout particular families, at least the ones that he's tried to track. You do know that wild magic, or what you can find, wild magic is particularly linked to the Fey realm, as it seems like they have a little bit more of a willingness to play with fate and play with randomness and chaos, and that certain items from the Fey realm, should you be able to find it, can kind of help you, in your words, trigger something from wild magic, or at least touch wild magic.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
I would like you to give me an insight check, if you please, Aurora.
11.
11. You're a little bit giddy trying to get this information, as it's something that you're interested in, at least in the very, very beginning here. And as you are not really paying attention to Mordain, as he kind of brings the tome to you. One thing that you do catch is the student behind Mordain kind of looking for more tomes to bring you, as Mordain seems to be almost a messenger in this case instead of the one searching for the books.
Oh, thank you. There was one last thing I was looking for.
Yes.
Crystal giants.
That's a new one. That's a new one. Let me see what I can find. Clara, help me. Roll another investigation check for this one.
19.
19. You don't find a textbook in this case. What is brought to you is a book of fairy tales. And
Ooh.
as you kind of just like sort of look strangely at this book that is brought towards you, you're kind of flipping through and flipping through. It reminds you very much of a book that your father used to read to you for bedtime stories, The Tales of Jovel the Bard. Poppy he used to read for you as bedtime stories. Although this one is not written by Jovel the Bard, for example. And as you kind of look through this fairy tale book, the pages are all withered. This is very, very old. It's an ancient, like Brothers Grimm kind of copy. And you come to this ancient story that tells you about essentially the founding of the material plane, at least according to the story itself. And as you start reading through the story, you get an understanding from this very kind of cryptic way that it's been written. It's not an easy read. You start to hear or read of the elements in the material plane being at war with each other, striking down any type of life that was able to be brought forward by the amaranthine of the world itself. Anything that was flammable, fire would consume, and anything that was living, water would drown. Until the amaranthine, or the gods, as the outside Humblewood world calls them, decided to give each element a living child made of their own flesh that would give them a reason to stop fighting and make the world hospitable. And from what you are looking for and what you can gather, you get a sense that your stone giants might be or crystal giants, whatever you called them, might be what is known as the first child of one of these elements. Although it's not specifically stated, that's the only thing brought to you about crystal giants.
Interesting. That's it for me. I'm good.
Right?
This raises so many more questions.
Who's next?
Is it just me or who's left?
I think Elle might have a few more questions as well. It's you two. And then Apoc, if you're asleep on the ground.
No, I'm just stretching.
Apoc, you have time to search for one more thing if you wish.
Okay, I'll think about it.
You were a successful roll, so.
Sean and Cam are the same person.
They really are.
I've been sitting in a chair all day today. It feels good.
Really are.
Well, so for Sir Basil, like he wouldn't necessarily be looking for any specific information, like book wise, but he'd probably like, I imagine like since coming into the Avium and like seeing that he's kind of like, we're now like in the heart of the actual Avium tree, he probably would have his helmet very low, kind of like cloak up, and he's probably just trying to like look for a specific person. So he's trying to see if there's any Gerbean that looks familiar to him. Essentially, he's looking for Sage, which would be his other sibling that should be at the Avium.
Yes. Yes. So go ahead and roll a roll. You're looking specifically for them, so I would say roll an investigation check.
Okay. So I'm very bad at investigation, so let's see what happens.
Does he get the extra things?
No,
Oh,
he
they're just
did.
a one-time thing. Wah, wah.
Unless Aurora is currently,
The
unless you gave them an inspiration before you left.
it's up to you. Because like it lasts for 10 minutes, so depending on how long we're doing this at the same time.
I would allow it because Basil's not looking for anything else. So I would allow it to happen.
So I roll a d4 and what I roll?
It's
Just
a D8. D8.
D8. Thanks, Eric.
This thing is not rolling good for me.
Cute though.
It is. Check it out.
It's like a very
Mushroom.
It's a little fairy house.
It's so cute.
so it's still a very bad roll. I only rolled an 8.
That
An
is
8?
Oh no!
Yeah, but minus 1.
Oh, -1. Wow.
Yeah, my investigation is very bad.
You suck.
Thanks,
Sorry.
man.
You can keep an eye out. Like there are a lot of students here. This is a full university at peak hours. During the hours that you're spending here, that your friends are kind of not kind of, but that your friends are doing research and reading around. You're trying to keep an eye out for Sage. And as you try to keep an eye out and just kind of look around, staying secret, trying to keep an eye out, you see a lot of gerbeans. You don't see Sage, but you do see lemongrass.
Oh, okay. In that case, can I approach her?
Sure, you can go up to lemongrass.
Would she have noticed me, or is she like busy doing something?
You can see her chatting. She's in these robes of kind of this like almost golden yellow, and you see a symbol of the School of Illusion on her chest or on her collar. There you go.
In that case, Sir Basil will probably just take off his helmet and just like run up to lemongrass and like not wanting to necessarily like interrupt her conversation, but kind of like make himself known and kind of like wave at her to see if she notices him.
You're certainly able to get into a position where she sees you waving. And as she sees you waving, there is a look of surprise on her face, followed by a scowl.
Mm-hmm.
As she kind of just regards you, gives you a very brief nod before continuing her conversation.
Oh, geez. Okay. Sir Basil will walk up then and say, "Excuse me, lemongrass."
I will catch up with you guys after class. Yes?
So I see this is where you studied. I've never been to the Avium before.
Pretty cool place.
Is Sage here as well?
Yeah, she's probably in one of the terrariums. I know she's usually fiddling around trying to transform one plant into another around this time. Don't tell me you came all the way here to see Sage and not say hi to me.
Well, I came here to see both of
That's
you.
buckets.
I know that you still have some hard feelings towards me for leaving for so long.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to make up for lost time, and I'm here.
Have you found peppermint yet? Or thyme?
Unfortunately, no. But I received word that Peppermint was seen going towards Alderheart. Right? That's correct? Is that correct? Out of
Yeah,
game?
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Am I
That's
remember?
what that's
Yes,
what
you're remembering correct. Yeah.
Wasn't it also that what was the connection to the Avium?
Yeah.
Wasn't it like she was coming from the Avium towards Alderheart?
I don't remember that.
Was that what it was?
No, just she was seen heading north on the road towards Alderheart. Your two sisters, Lemongrass and Sage, are the ones that studied at the Avium.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so Sir Basil will just say, no, I haven't found them yet. However, I've gotten word that Peppermint was seen last heading towards Alderheart. I'll be heading there next.
Gonna say you got a little bit more to go before you hit Alderheart. Wrong tree, Basil.
As I said, I'm here to see you and Sage.
How long are you here for?
Only the day, unfortunately. A very quick trip. But it is still good to see you.
I'll let Sage know you stopped by.
I'll say Sir Basil kind of like sensing the tension. He's probably just gonna like almost in a defeated way kind of nod. And maybe before he turns away, he'll like turn back and say, no, I am trying. I know I can't make up for all the time I was gone, but I am trying.
I know, Basil, but in my mind, you have to make up for 20 years of lost time and leaving at a time when we needed you. So you'll have to forgive me if I don't automatically forgive you.
Of course. Well, it is on my word and my honor. If it means anything, I'll make it up to you and our family. I'll find Peppermint. I'll find time. Please tell Sage I wish her my best, and I wish I could have seen her. And then he'll nod and kind of turn back to the group and I guess walk away. Okay. He'll just seem very just like heated, just like
If you had passed your check, you would have found the sister.
it's okay.
Sorry, man.
They made for a good story. It's good.
I feel yucky on the inside. All right. Elle, that just leave Basil, you if you want to do something else, we'll skip to Elle for now, but if you did want to do anything else, we can come back to you.
No,
So you will still have time in the day.
But no peppermint.
But no peppermint.
He's waiting for it.
You got a chuckle out of Georgina. But we'll skip over to Elle, give you a second if you want to think about it, and then just let me know if there's anything else you wanted to do at the school.
Yep, nothing for me. I think that's
Okay. Awesome. All right, Elle.
Probably while everyone is still in the library, Elle will boss around Apoc and then quickly just kind of turn to the dean and just say, yeah, I need to talk to you. Mr. Spice Rack recommended you personally and said I should come and talk to you.
Mr. Spice Rack.
I can't remember his name.
Clear Spice.
Mr. Spice.
Mr. Spice. Okay, sure. Yes. Mr. Spice. Great. What are you looking for, dear?
I'm looking for people, and I'm wondering if you know where they might be.
Wouldn't have anything to do with the markings on your throat there, would it?
Maybe. Can we talk in here? Or I don't think we're supposed to talk really loud in the library, right?
Oh, It's fine. I'm the dean. I can do whatever I want. Who are you looking for, dear?
I'm wondering if you know Celeste or Seraphina Wayra. Actually, Master Wayra looks a little bit like you.
As you say the name Celeste, birds do not have eyebrows, but you can see the dean's eyes widen. Celeste? We were students together here at the Avium. I see her in you. Celeste was here a few months ago. I take it she has not gone back to Marshview.
Well, I can't quite remember the last time she left, but a few weeks before I left, she was gone and she didn't come back. And usually the wind will give me some kind of message or sign, but nothing came. So I went to go look. It's not like her to leave for too long or without telling me. There's lots of things she does that I don't like, but that's not something she would do.
Well, she was here, like I said, a couple months ago. She was here. I don't know what she was looking for or what book she took out, but if it's any consolation, what I do have is her dissertation from when she was a student here. Would you like to read it?
I don't know what a dissertation is, but sure. Does it have
Like a really thick book. Like a big book.
Okay. Can I keep
But
it?
hers was very interesting, I'm sure. What's that?
Can I keep it?
No.
Oh.
But you can read it while you're here.
Okay.
Okay. Let me see. And as he kind of looks around, he starts to strut over towards one of the walls and holds his own hand up, and you see all of these like green leather bound books with just student names on the side. And as he holds one up, you see one very big tome just start to float down towards him. And he grabs it, and you see the name of your grandmother as the author on this tome. This is what she studied when she was here in school. I know over the years she would come and like make a few notes in here. I don't remember seeing it with her last time she was here, but I didn't really pay attention, so I'm not so sure. It's very busy. It was mid-exam season. I was needed everywhere. You wouldn't believe the lengths some students would go to try and cheat on their exams. Message spells, they think we can't see them, but we can.
I know a couple sneaky people, so that doesn't really surprise me.
Hey, so she always updated this as far as I know. Have a good time. I have to run along and grab something to eat, so let me know if you have any struggles and I will come back. And as he hands over, sorry?
She's just gonna ask one more time. If you knew Celeste, did Seraphina ever come and study at the Avium?
Daughter, I guess. I don't remember a Seraphina, but I haven't always been a professor here, so she might have come when I was not. Sorry, dear.
Well, it was worth a shot.
Well, happy reading. Good luck. And as he hands over
How big is this book?
Your knees like buckle a little bit because you're a scrawny little 12-year-old.
Yeah, but I can read like hell though.
That's very true. You do not have to make an investigation check because you asked the right person for the right tome. Because it is quite big, it is going to take you the better part of a day to get through, though. And the first half is extremely dry. As you start getting into the, oh, I gotta flip to the right page here. As you start getting into the second half, after, and you would recognize your grandmother's handwriting anywhere, Elle. But as you start getting into the second half and start flipping through and getting into the core of what she was studying, you know that your grandmother was very focused on the wind, and its relationship to her, to the rest of your family. However, as you flip through, you find that when your grandmother was here, a student at the Avium, it wasn't just the wind that she was fascinated with. You find writings and scrawlings of elemental magic, and elemental planes, elemental creatures through this work from her. And as you go on and on, sorry, I just have to find my notes. Again. Sorry, guys, give me a second. As you start to go through and go through, you find that your grandmother had come up with the idea that Humblewood was almost a ground zero in the material plane for links between the material plane and the elemental planes. And that's why her gift with the wind and ultimately yours would be as present as it was in the population. Here we go. Neat. Now, as your grandmother kind of went on and on and on in her ramblings, a few things started to pop out repeatedly, and she kind of had a big scratch along one page. And from that point on, her writing had become a bit more clear. And she writes, and this is kind of where your attention starts to really get grasped. She writes about the presence of 4 children that are born in the same year that all share a gift to a connection with an elemental plane. She writes that there's no rhyme or rhythm to why this is the case, but that she's been able to track through history 4 children at a time. As she has gone on, and you can see almost this family tree that has sprouted backwards in history. You can see scribbles of every time 4 children have been named, there's almost like a line in a different colored ink that matches to a year and a location. And in your grandmother's scrawl, you can see planar crossover question mark beside each set of 4 children, essentially. You can see, sorry. You can see that as your grandmother has gone back in time, she's also tried to go forward from certain points. It seems like she's working out from one year that she knew for sure, and has started to branch out in both directions. And you start to see things like mock fields, a year with 4 names, and crossover to the Earth plane, Earth giant spotted, period. You can see things like 4 names, outside the Avium, just north, large bubbles with different windstorms in it, linked to the wind plane, question mark. And as you go through, you go all the way until you see your name. Flipping pages and flipping pages until you see Elle. Connection to wind of the Comwires. Beside your name, you see 3 other names. You see Emrys, connection to Earth, Tamarac's family. You see Arrow, Eyro, connection to water, Volta family. And you see Evie, connection to fire, Zogma family.
Oh shit.
Ah,
Oh no. Damn. Damn. Oh wow. Okay, cool. Whoa, oh wow. Mm.
You realize Basil doesn't know this right now.
I know, but that's amazing. Wow.
lightsaber.
Oh, jeez. Wow. Okay, sorry.
That was really funny.
Whoa. Very
Oh,
cool.
that was really good. Beside your names, you see the year that you were born. And you also see tidal wave outside Marshview. Link to water plane? Question mark. Oh my gosh. As you kind of sit frozen on the page for a second, seeing your name, Emrys's name, and flip to the very last page, you see a note that's been folded and almost kind of crushed between the pages of this tome. Do you open it?
Yeah, she's absolutely gonna open it.
As you rip it open and just kind of spread it out and look at it, you recognize your grandmother's handwriting, and you recognize your mother's. As you read the note, which kind of makes your heart soar a little bit, seeing their handwriting, and seeing that this page in particular is the newest of the pages that you've currently gone through in the tome. You do see Elle. Hoping you find this. I think you will. You're more talented than I ever cared to admit. Sorry we didn't tell you. It was too dangerous till we knew for sure. You'll know when you're ready. Lots of love. And you see your grandmother and your mother's signatures at the bottom.
Elle is gonna take the note and put it into her pocket so she can look at it again. Then she's going to slam the book and run out of the library.
Okay. All right. You slam the book. It's heavy, but you're able to slam the book.
As slammy as she can be.
Jeez. And as you go to flee the library, I would say Basil and Apoc. Basil and Apoc, who are in that main part of the library, they're the only two. Apoc finishing his research up a bit early, do see you start to flee. It is 10 o'clock. Being conscious of time, I think we'll end there and pick up from there next time.
Wow. What a session.